Dr. Christy Ennis. Today, motion is lotion as we work to get all of this unstuck and untight and engage these glutes because they both work together. So stagnation is actually the new smoking because when we don't move a lot, everything gets stuck together, which causes pain and just a whole bunch of yuckiness in there. So we really want to work on getting the fluid in between these layers to get moving. That's why motion is lotion. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to do a little soft tissue work gently because we actually have receptors on the skin that talk to that brain. Hopefully they talk to our brains and tell it to relax and move a little bit better. So step one is really just gliding through those muscles. Now we start with the quad a little bit because our hip flexor, one of our quad muscles is actually a hip flexor muscle too. What people don't often think about though is that our hip flexors come right up to that top of that hip bone. And even if we go right across from that belly button, they attach there, whoop, right, dive deep down into the spine. So it's actually important to get right up around that belly too. It feels a little weird, so make sure you haven't eaten anything before you do this. But I also, once I kind of get a little bit of like, okay, that feels a little less heebie-jeebies, right? It feels a little bit less bumpy, in other words. Then I go ahead and find those tight spots. And again, oftentimes it's by the hip and by the belly button because we don't work on those. So I'll take the edge of the Derma Edge right into the top of that hip crest. Ooh, yep, that's a spot, all right. And then add a little bit of leg motion. So we're doing a little active work here to get that going. And again, until it feels a little bit better. And then I usually move near the belly button, push just a little harder. And then this one, straighten out that leg and bring that heel up. Slide it. I'm not sliding well on the mat, but you get the idea. So that's a little bumpy, right? Until that feels a little bit better too. And then from there, you're gonna add in some mobility exercises that work on mobility through the front, but also strength in the back. Okay, exercise number 2 is still on the ground, or if it's uncomfortable for you to be on the ground, you do these right in bed. No problem with that at all. But we are going to go into a bridge. Now, we're doing active exercises here because oftentimes our hips are tight from sitting or not moving. So to go into a static stretch right from there doesn't work very well. Our bodies don't like that very much. So let's get those glutes engaged, which helps stretch the hip flexors more and vice versa. So we're gonna start with our feet about hip width apart. You're gonna do a little pelvic tuck. Hands can press into the ground, and then you're lifting that butt up as high as you can without arching through the spine, and that includes the rib cage. So for me, that's about there. And then with control, you come back down. You wanna aim for about 10 to 15 repetitions. Now, if your hips are so tight that they just won't allow you to move like that, and mine sometimes are, I find that if you put your heels together and turn those toes out, you're just opening up that space a little bit more. And like, oh yeah, that feels actually really good. So same idea with tucking that pelvis a little bit and nice and controlled. And again, either 10 to 15 repetitions there too. For this next one, we're on our stomachs. So again, on the bed or on the floor. But for this one, we're actually opening up the whole front body. So I love this one because it works more than just those hip flexors. And you can, of course, think about squeeze those glutes a little to get a better stretch. But your starting point is forearms on the mat. And then it's a little press up here, making sure that your back doesn't bother you when you do this one. That's important too. If that feels okay and you want a little bit more, you can press right up onto your hands, trying to, leave that pelvis down. Don't rock like I just did there. But holding and pausing for about a breath. And then you come right back down. So you get a little arm work here at the same time. But now we're opening up the hips. We've got the chest open. You can even add a little bit of a head look up to open up that neck too. And for this one, again, about 10 repetitions throughout the day. For our last one, we're standing up. And this one is the most difficult one, but it really gets things going. If you are concerned about your balance, make sure that you have something to hang on to because we are focusing on some one leg stuff here, or single leg is probably a better terminology. All right, so this leg that's going to step back is going to stretch through that hip flexor. So I'm going to tuck my tailbone under as I squeeze that glute a little bit. And you don't have to have a super deep bend in the knee in this back leg. To add a little bit more, you can bring your arms up overhead and even add just a touch of side bend or really reaching that arm away. From here, now we're gonna get those glutes firing a little bit more. I'm gonna step this back leg all the way through, tiny little bend in that knee, and now I'm pushing this hip backwards to get right in there. And then I'm gonna bring this leg down and then step right back into, woohoo, that lunge. And again, you can bring those arms up. And notice we're just moving at a nice slow pace, not really holding for very long. You can do airplane arms if that helps you. And of course, for this one, you wanna do both sides. And I usually recommend about 5 or so of those. Thank you so much for tuning in today, you guys. If you want to get rid of pain anywhere in your body on your own with just one little portable device, don't forget to check out the Derma Edge. I created this while I was going through Lyme disease to help get rid of my pain on my own, nice and gently. It's patented and made in the US, actually right down the road in Laconia from where my office is. So don't forget, you can click the link here or in the description to order your own.